BoJack Horseman is an anomaly of a show. Originally airing in 2014 on Netflix, the show has seen a massive evolution, one that has been noticed and acclaimed by both fans and critics alike. If I told you that this...
You know, sometimes I feel like our marriage is like a Magic Eye poster.
I love those things.
I know, and it's messy. And at first glance, it doesn't seem to make any sense. And it's hard to figure out. But sometimes, if you squint at it just right, everything lines up and it's the most perfect, beautiful, amazing thing.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But I'm so tired of squinting.
was from the same show as this. You probably wouldn't believe me. BoJack Horseman has a facade of a stupid cartoon show, with its bright color palette and outlandish premise, that being about a washed-up actor who is a horseman. But watching the show reveals a series centered around the ideas of depression, alcoholism, mental health, and being a good person. Throughout the series' current 5.5 season run, there has been a massive amount of fantastic episodes. But looking at IMDb, there are two that stand out the most, those being Free Churro and Fish Out of Water. These episodes are among the highest rated in the entire series. However, what truly distinguishes these episodes from every other one is that they are both what the TV industry calls a bottle episode. Bottle episodes are quite controversial among the TV world. These episodes can be easily defined as filler episodes, but good bottle episodes do so much more than just fill. The original purpose of the bottle episode was to save money. They would base one episode of a show in one location with a limited cast and relatively simple effects. However, as time moved on and TV became less of an entertainment medium and more of an art form, the bottle episode completely changed. Now the bottle episode is less about saving money, but more about driving the overall plot. One of the most controversial examples of a bottle episode is from the 3rd season of Breaking Bad, titled Fly. The episode is set only in Walter White's lab and features only Walter and Jesse Pinkman trying to accomplish one thing: to catch a fly. The episode is stupidly simple, but the true reason why this episode is so good is because of the interactions that occur between Walter and Jesse. BoJack Horseman takes this idea of how a bottle episode can progress a story to a new level. In order to do that, Raphael, Bob Waxberg, and the other minds behind BoJack Horseman do something very different. They intentionally add restrictions in order to convey the story in a new way. Now the real question is, how do you add restrictions to an episode that's already restricted? And here's where BoJack Horseman gets creative. Remember that episode I mentioned earlier, Fish Out of Water? Outside of its cold open in the very end of the episode, there is not a single line of dialogue. Not a single word is spoken throughout almost all of the episode's nearly half an hour of runtime. The other episode, Free Churro, does the exact opposite. Not only is the episode set in one room, it is set entirely within a 10-foot by 10-foot space around BoJack. There are only 5 different camera angles used in the entire episode, with all of them focused on BoJack. Even with these extreme restrictions, both these episodes still manage to be among the highest ranking episodes of the series, and even of all time. In this video, I will be talking about how the creators of BoJack Horseman utilized the mechanics of a bottle episode in order to make these 2 episodes so good. Fish Out of Water, being an episode devoid of dialogue, focuses on telling its story through visuals rather than exposition. The episode begins with BoJack arriving in Pacific Ocean City, which is located entirely underwater, with the hopes of promoting his new movie Secretariat. He's restricted from speaking to others due to his helmet that prevents him from drowning and the language barrier between him and the local sea creatures. After arriving at his hotel, he notices Kelsey, the director who was fired from Secretariat mainly due to his actions. He is conflicted about whether to confront and apologize to her or to ignore and hide from her. While he initially tries to apologize with a letter that reflects his egotistic personality, he's unable to do so due to his lack of communication. After losing Kelsey and getting lost miles away from the city, he finds himself having to take care of a lost newborn seahorse. As BoJack helps the baby find its father, he grows a bond with this random child without ever saying a word to it. He returns the child to its father, having just created a positive connection with someone, something that he previously did not think he could have done. He returns to Pacific Ocean City and re-encounters Kelsey. With a newfound sense of humility, he rewrites his letter, finally apologizing for his misdeeds. However, his apology falls on deaf ears, as the ink on his letter is washed away by the water. All of this is told without a single word of dialogue spoken. The majority of the episode is completely separated from the actual plot of the story, with BoJack spending most of the episode's 26-minute long runtime helping the baby seahorse find its way home. By the end of the episode, nothing has dramatically changed plot-wise, as BoJack's main objective, to apologize to Kelsey, ends up failing. However, this episode manages to succeed thoroughly in the main trait of a bottle episode: character development. You see, at the beginning of the episode, BoJack is caught up in his newfound fame that he received after the success of Secretariat. He is cocky, arrogant, egotistical, basically all the traits that you would expect a stereotypical movie star to have. However, he soon realizes that once he arrives in this new, alien world, that he isn't the top dog anymore. Although he is surrounded by promoters, reporters, and critics, he is still isolated from everything around him. His desire to talk his way out of situations is impossible to do, and he is forced to adapt to his new circumstance. His experience with the young seahorse humbles and strengthens him. While at the beginning of the episode he is cloistered from the world around him both linguistically and physically, by the end he learns how to navigate the foreign world he was thrown into, and along the way manages to change himself for the better. This level of storytelling can only be achieved with the bottle episode because you need to limit what your character can and cannot do in order to have them develop internally rather than socially. By restricting BoJack's ability to speak, the show forces him to solve problems in newer ways. In turn, he is forced to put away his egotistical personality and exposes his true emotions and sentiments. Fish Out of Water is a fantastic example of setting limitations in order to establish a character's true intentions. But the next episode that we are going to talk about takes the idea of a bottle episode, amplifies it, and creates one of the greatest episodes of television ever made. Before talking about Free Churro, there's one thing we need to get out of the way. The entirety of Free Churro takes place at the podium of a funeral parlor, and the only person who speaks in the entire episode is BoJack. Contrastingly to Fish Out of Water, there is no action, no change in location, no conversations, just one horseman, speaking his mind. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, the episode is all based around the funeral of BoJack's mother, BoJack Horseman. As shown in the past seasons and episodes, Beatrice was an abusive alcoholic and a terrible mother to BoJack. Nearing towards her death, her health began declining rapidly, and she developed dementia and eventually forgot who BoJack was. The concept of Free Churro is simple, so simple in fact that the description of the episode just reads, BoJack delivers a eulogy at a funeral, because that's exactly what it is. No side plot with Todd, no emotional confrontations between Diane and Mr. Peanut Butter, just BoJack. Apart from the cold open, which features a young BoJack and his father, the episode in its entirety is just BoJack having a discussion with himself. The episode is a deep dive into the subconscious of the show's protagonist. There's this internal struggle visibly seen within BoJack, because he doesn't know what to say. For the first half of his eulogy, he struggles to come up with anything nice to say about his mother, and most of his so-called compliments are just backhanded insults about how bad of a mother Beatrice was. BoJack eventually stops talking about his mom altogether and resorts to just reminiscing about his past in the TV sitcom industry. Although the episode consists of BoJack showing resentment for his mother and her abusive parenting, he's still conflicted. He wants to feel like he was loved. He wants to remember having a good relationship with his mother, but no matter what he does, no matter how hard he tries to reflect on his past, he just can't find it. This episode acts as a fantastic character study over the relationship between BoJack and his mother. In a conventional show, the director would have likely shown this by presenting a flashback of his son and mother's early life. Showing the story in this form, however, expresses the external development that a character has, but loses the subconscious internal development and conflict that the character must go through. In BoJack Horseman, we have already seen that external development in the past episodes, whether it be during BoJack's lunch with his mother or during the Fantastic Times Arrow episode, but it is only now that we can truly see what BoJack feels emotionally. By using the bottle episode, the show expresses this internal conflict that he's going through in a way that they could not have done in any other episode. BoJack knows that he should feel sad, but in reality, he doesn't feel that way. His entire relationship with his mother consisted of harassment, abuse, and toxicity, and now, in front of a crowd of what BoJack assumes are her friends and family, he's expected to speak about how great of a mother she was and how wonderful of a life she lived. But BoJack can't do that because there's nothing great to say. All the experiences and interactions that we've seen between BoJack and his mother all lead to here, and it is now his turn to express how he actually feels. You can't consider this episode to be filler because it does something very important to the plot. It gives BoJack the chance to speak his mind. For so long, BoJack has been forced to pretend to be happy and pretend to be pleased with himself, but now, in this time of vulnerability, we see BoJack lower that facade, and he gets the opportunity to reveal his true emotions. And that is why this bottle episode is crucial to the overall plot and character development of BoJack. The bottle episode is nothing new, and has been around long before BoJack Horseman, dating all the way back to the early 60s. What was once originally a cheap excuse to save money on a TV show turned into an extremely popular and artistic episode format, from Friends to Star Trek to the extremely meta episode of Community.
I wouldn't do that. I hate bottle episodes. They're wall-to-wall facial expression and emotional nuance. I might as well sit in the corner with a bucket on my head.
And I believe that BoJack Horseman is taking the next steps to evolve this niche genre even further. Both these episodes are exceptionally written and are extremely original and funny, but what really elevates these two episodes from all the other bottle episodes out there is the realistic emotions it portrays. The creators of BoJack Horseman did not want these episodes to be bottle episodes so they could get a funny joke in. They intentionally crafted these episodes in this manner to place the protagonist in a vulnerable position where he is forced to adapt and accept his new reality. The whole premise of the bottle episode acts as a way to force this out of BoJack. In any other context, BoJack wouldn't be able to expose himself in this manner, especially with the ego he carries. By placing him in awkward, unfamiliar, or straight up depressing environments, and restricting him in a way that prevents his ego from standing out, the show strengthens BoJack's overall character arc by having him admit that he is flawed. But, with this TV show being a comedy, to end this video I present to you the ending scene of Fish Out of Water, which may just be the funniest ending to any TV episode ever. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.
Hey! Move it, buddy! What are you, deaf? Oh, you have got to be kidding.